Uh-oh, I'm having camera problems. Let's see. Hopefully that fixed it. Let's see. I'm still getting the hang of doing a live stream. Let's see. I can't even find where I open up the live stream. That's wild. I don't know if I'm okay. Let's see. Oh, I guess I am. I'm here. Yay. I didn't realize it. I still am getting the hang of doing this this stream with OBS instead of StreamYard. You know, you get a little lazy using the StreamYard app, and then all of a sudden you're using going back to the basics. Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm Tasha Pierce. Things have gotten underway. I'm going to start sharing the screen in just a moment here of some of the speeches. You guys let me know if the audio sounds good, if you can hear me. And when I start trying to share my screens, if you can hear those screens as well. If you'll let me know, I will greatly appreciate it. Let's see. That ain't what you came to see. There we are. No, I'm trying to find the speaker's name right now. Okay. I don't have the speaker's name. I want to move this blue sky handle. Right. Right, right. Okay. So that is coming from out of Washington, where so many people have joined together. I really wish we could get an aerial shot of the people who have started to join in with these protests, because I am truly impressed with the speakers so far. We've had Maxwell Frost, we've had Jamie Raskin. Um, Things got underway, I think, about an hour or so ago. Yeah, I probably should have started my stream a little earlier. Hey, Bougie, no volume from the video, but you hear me fine. Well, that sucks. Let's see if I can fix it. And by fixing that, I might break everything else. Lord have mercy. Well, what that speaker had said, she was talking about education, as far as I could tell. Um, Boy, I don't know what I did with the capture video capture device. That's that. Audio input capture. Yeah, I don't know. And I can't figure it out. I really wish I would have gotten to that before the doggone live stream started though. So yeah, I'm gonna break the whole thing. So okay, I will try to go back to the videos, but I do have some things that we can be talking about. Okay, so look, I believe in the show notes I do have this feed linked, because Bougie Barbie just came up with a brilliant idea. And her brilliant idea is that she can watch it in another tab, or listen in another tab. And while I play it over here. So if that's something, and then I gotta pop out y'all chat too. It's so much going on. I mean, over here. Usually I might have a couple of tabs open, but this right here is starting to get, girl, your girl don't know what to do. She don't know how to it's too it's too many things it's asking me to do. Um, let's see. Is that okay? I already went into that. I need to pop out the chat. That's what I want to pop out. I do not want to pop out the dashboard. So yeah, y'all pray for me. Pray for me, because it's so easy to do. It was so easy to do the last time I did it, and now I don't remember what I did and how things got so worse was so easy then. Let me see. You know what? We're just gonna we're gonna do this bare minimum. Bare minimum. I'm gonna go ahead and add her back to my screen so you guys can see this. There's a new speaker as well, but they introduced her as I was running my mouth over here. And I'm trying to look on another device to see what these people's names are, because the Guardian, which that link you will also find, they have been also covering each one of the speakers for this Washington protest. There are protests not only all over the nation, there are protests all over the world today. They are protesting the complete and utter stain on our world that is Donald Trump. Um, so yeah, there right now I see hundreds of protesters are gathered in central London. No to MAGA hate. They are truly, truly standing in solidarity with the rest of the world because, this is a United States problem. But because we created this problem, now he's a worldwide menace. And nobody wants to be bothered with Donald Trump. Okay, I'm trying to find speakers though. And see, the last speaker that they put in their update was Maxwell Frost, but we've had two speakers since then. So maybe I'll try to go to Blue Sky and see if they are running a ticker that might be a little more up to date over there. Let's see. But yeah, let me know in where you're watching from, and if you also know of any protests that are going on in your area. I know here in Houston, number one, they're doing it at the city hall, and it looks a bit like it's going to rain here. Okay. Um, Cory Booker is holding a constituents town hall. Thank you for that, Bougie. Cory Booker is also holding a constituents town hall. Let's see. Cory Booker ought to be tired of talking, baby. I was so impressed with that man being able to not only stand on his feet, but talk for 25 consecutive hours. Who says men can't communicate? That man stood up there and communicated. And I guess there are a few other things that I did want to talk about because in North Carolina, if you are watching this from North Carolina, please know that you guys need to be prepared to find out if you are among 60,000 voters that have been challenged. See, the North Carolina Court of Appeals has given those 60,000 voters that have been challenged 15 days to prove your eligibility to vote. So that is in a split decision. I'm reading this out of the News and Observer. In a split decision, a panel of judges on the North Carolina Court of Appeals ruled Friday that tens of thousands of votes cast in the contested 2024 Supreme Court race should be recounted and verified, potentially flipping the election results. So, the court ordered that over 60,000 voters whose eligibility has been challenged by Republican Jefferson Griffin, those voters are being given 15 days to provide proper documentation to election workers showing that they are able to vote. If you are among those 60,000 voters in North Carolina and you fail to do so, your vote is going to be thrown out. It's one thing we know about this generation of quote unquote Republicans, but we know that they're likely MAGA. One thing we know about them is if they can't win, they will cheat. And it appears that Justin Allison Riggs, who is the Democratic incumbent in this race, it looks like she won. And if they can't win in any other way, they like, well, F it. I would rather cheat. And that is where we are. So if you are in North Carolina, please make sure that you do your due diligence. Make sure that you are not one of those voters that was on that list, because if you are, 9 times out of 10, they're looking for a way to throw away your vote. Mm, goodness. I got too many things open. And if the one thing that I wish is that Trump was there in Washington instead of doing whatever it is that he's doing. He's oh no, it ain't no whatever it is he's doing. We know where he's at. He's playing golf. And that's pretty much what he'll be doing for most of his administration when he's not terrorizing us. So um hopefully he's watching. He can't help but watch. He is serially online. So I'm thinking that there is a possibility that uh, Donald Trump is at least seeing this and he hasn't begun reacting to it yet. Now, we are not asking for him to do his ignorant big one because we know that he is very capable of coming out and acting a fool when somebody speaks out against him. We know that. Um, and we're not asking for him to do anything like that. What we are asking is that we know that he's paying attention. um Corey is on a roll, and him being on a roll has ignited so many other senators who, okay, we could talk about the four that voted with the Democrats the other night as it pertained to the tariffs on Canada. But Hakeem Jeffries, have you noticed? Is it just me that Hakeem Jeffries is he trying to get a little swagger about himself, and now he's speaking out more as well? Now there are some Republican senators some Democratic senators and representatives who speak out, but they just don't have the spice that Cory Booker, that Jasmine Crockett, that AOC, that Bernie Sanders, they don't have that spice. So they're speaking out, but it might be resonating with a different audience. I don't care who it is. Keep on talking. But Cory Booker, he's played his right down the middle. He is resonating with all audiences. He's firing on all cylinders. And I am very happy that Cory Booker has risen to the occasion. Oh, Bougie says Trump is golfing. Yeah, when he should. And the thing is, when you're the president of the United States, you got that big ass airplane, even though, yeah, we know it wreaks havoc on our environment. But if Donald Trump wanted to golf this weekend, do you think that even though you've got this big jet and you can fly across the country, that you can meet the what do they call it when you come and salute the young men who lost their lives over in Lithuania, our soldiers that he blew off when they were bringing their remains back to their families? He blew that off so that he could go golfing. And look, it stands to it's a testament to Trump's inability to feel empathy, number one. And then number two, he also he feels like if it's a soldier and they didn't die in war, they wasn't fighting, they're useless to him. He doesn't care about our kids once we send them over, send them to the military. He doesn't care unless they are doing something awesome. And in his mind, because there's nothing awesome ever about war. There's nothing awesome ever about warfare. But this juvenile minded man that somehow keeps weaseling his way back into the public consciousness now on a huge scale as a two-term president, He's a child in mind. So if you lose your life fighting for this country, if you get captured like John McCain, if you lose your life and it wasn't on a battlefield, you are like a broken toy to him. He's got no use for you anymore. He tosses you off to the side. He would prefer, as he said, he would prefer his soldiers, his heroes, to not be captured. He would prefer his heroes to not pass away in the line of duty. You're only a hero if you come back to the United States unscathed. And we all know that there's no such thing in warfare as coming home unscathed. Either the scars are visible or the scars are up here. But one way or another, you are scarred. He doesn't have that level of empathy. Donald Trump is incapable of feeling anything for anyone other than himself. And that is why we're in the position that we're in right now. Life is going on as normal for him. While the rest of the nation is standing around holding the bag, trying to figure out how some people are trying to figure out how they're going to eat. Some people are trying to figure out where I'm going to live. Where am I going to work? How am I going to keep my business afloat? And Donald Trump is probably, his big ass is probably on the 7th or 8th hole. Okay, I've ranted. Bougie Barbie said yes, she noticed that Jeffries is trying to add a little seasoning to the pot. Yeah. All of a sudden, hey Marge, good to see you. Yeah, he trying to add some to some seasoning to, like you said, some seasoning to the pot. And I don't care how we get these people we motivate them to give us a bigger platform, to make us be our voices have to rise over the top of all of the noise that's coming out of the White House. Hello there, Lysandra. Our voices have to rise over all that noise, and a lot of times it's impossible. We can have a rally every day, but will we have numbers every day? No, but every single day of the week, we have representatives in Congress, we have senators in Congress, and the days that our voices are a whisper, those are the days that we need our representation in Washington to amplify our voices. Yes. So right now, I'm pretty sure everybody knows about the tariffs. Donald Trump put tariffs on every country in the world, pretty much, that we have a trade agreement with. I'll say that, except for Russia. I believe Russia. I can't think of anybody else that we have a trade agreement with that he did not put, or that he did put tariffs on. We have also learned, if you didn't know, because many of us all saw Ferris Bueller. So we know what a tariff is. And regardless of whether you've seen Ferris Bueller or not, we have heard enough over the last decade about tariffs to understand that tariffs will affect the prices of consumer goods in the United States. That is not just on cars. That is not just, oh shit. Excuse my French. I'm under a tornado warning and didn't realize it. Under a tornado warning here. Um, what was I going to? What was I saying? We was talking about the tariffs. We was talking about the tariffs, and we are understanding what the tariffs mean. Everything goes up, right? Every place that we have a trade agreement with, the prices will go up on things. Your clothing. All of us who kind of like that fast fashion, that ain't gonna be that fast anymore. That fashion is gonna get held up at the border because the import taxes are going to be extremely high on those things. Well, not the income taxes, the import taxes are going to be high on those things. I got sidetracked when I saw that tornado warning, baby. So if you see me disappear and get up under this desk, you already know. You know what it is. And I really hope that our colleagues and friends who are out in Houston who are protesting at City Hall be prepared to take cover. I know you're probably not listening to me right now. Be prepared for anything as far as this. Now, back to the tariffs. Your medication is going to go up, right? Right? Um, the price of groceries. Funny word, groceries. Groceries. See, to Donald Trump, he said that during his campaign or right after his campaign, after he had won, he said groceries. I just said that and everybody goes crazy because he has no concept of trying to figure out where your next meal is going to come from. He has no concept of how big a deal groceries are to the average person. The tech bros are finding out that they video games. Yeah, your electronic devices, your iPhones, your Jordans, all of that is going to go up. And why? Because of the tariffs. Marge said you got to walk the dogs. You got to be careful. But everything, the price of everything can potentially go up. They were saying that a car that cost $10,000 is going to go up to like $13,000. Car that costed $50,000 or $60,000. You do the math. You're adding 30% at the absolute least to that. So any huge purchase that you might make that's an electronic purchase, computer, anything that has to get sent from another country, they're talking about tacking crazy prices, crazy things onto those. And many people are like still thinking that this could work out in some way for them. It's not, baby. It's not going to work out for you. And I'm not saying to walk around with the doom and gloom. What I am saying is let this be enough to make you fight. Some people cannot go outside and march the streets. But if you got a telephone, you can call senators. You can carve out a block of time in your day to do something to add to the resistance. Because if you're not, then you could possibly, I don't know how, I can't speak for everybody, but you feel like you're sitting around letting something happen to you instead of doing something to stop it. You get what I'm saying? So now we're sitting at home twiddling our thumbs, waiting for Trump to do the next crazy ass thing he's going to do. And the next crazy thing might be so crazy that it affects you. And not saying that people, have to go about things the way I do, but I'm saying if you don't want to feel like a victim, do something. Call senators, especially them senators in red states. It don't matter what state you're calling from. Let them know. I got friends and family in that state that you represent. I got some things that I want to. Um, it's crazy. I got some things that I want to share with you guys, but I have to start adding things to my. Let me see. I'm going to close this up real quick. I closed the wrong thing. Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't want to close me. I wanted to close this. And I'm going to add a little something here because, I mean, most of you, again, perpetually online, you'd have seen some of this stuff. But some of this stuff is going to piss you off. Some of it can inspire you. I'm going to dooby dooby doo this guy here. I really don't know. I hope that I hope that that it you can hear it. Okay. Tell me if you can hear that, y'all. Were you guys able to hear that? Let me go to see where y'all at. I need to know if you were able to hear that last little clip before I start playing other clips. Okay, so it was silent. We got to figure out why my clips are not playing out loud because I ain't get all these clips together to not use them. But that man, if you if you did not know who he is a senator in for Indiana, and he is a big old piece of garbage. Let me tell you, just from the way that he spoke to the gentleman who was trying to interview him. Now, let me. Am I coming across? I don't know why that media source does not have any volume to it. But thanks for not letting me go a whole live stream and not telling me that y'all can't hear these clips because I'm glad you let me know ahead of time. Because the last time I did a stream and was trying to figure out if I was coming over, and people saying, "Yeah, I can hear you," and y'all couldn't hear me. So I had talked. I don't know why this is. I had talked for so long, and nothing was coming over. Um, we're gonna see if this works. I keep picking the wrong. Yes or no? Did y'all hear it? Because that's gonna let me know whether I just need to just leave it alone. Because I might just leave it alone. I might just leave it alone. I gotta wait because there is a lag. I've been said something, and then 2 or 3 minutes later, y'all answering me because there's a lag in the. Didn't hear it. Okay, don't you worry about it. I ain't playing another one. And I had so many videos because, as we know, so this warning, this watch, it's a tornado watch, and it's in effect until 9 tonight. As you know, uh, Kamala Harris reappeared. She spoke at a dinner or luncheon for women, and she came back on the scene, and she led or gave a very inspiring speech, and I was again effectively inspired by this woman, who should be the president of the United States, but here we are. We also heard from Barack Obama, and I had a clip of his. I had a clip of his remarks, and I really, because this is saying media source, and it is also showing that the volume, or that is there. I just don't know how to make y'all hear it. That makes me mad. Because they really, really, there's nothing, and I don't want to say nothing. At this stage of the game, Barack Obama, Kamala Harris, all the people that you're looking for to do something are in the same position as us. In my mind, and I could be wrong on this. In my mind, it seems like they're in a worse position, because if they overtly just come out and try to motivate us to do something against Trump, they could be seen as, oh, you're inciting an insurrection. They can be seen as, oh, you're trying to stage a coup. But if the people ourselves, if we mobilize and if we go and get out in the streets, it's just the people reacting to the bullshit that's coming out of Washington. So it's to me, it would be more scary if a celebrity, or if a former politician, especially if you're formerly in the White House, if you come out and it appears that you are pushing the people in a direction that Trump will try to have you locked up for the very thing we should have locked him up for, right? Except for he ain't gonna be tiptoeing around it and trying to stand on decorum. Donald Trump would like nothing more than to throw Barack Obama in jail. He would like nothing more than to do that. Donald Trump would like nothing more than to arrest Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, Hillary Clinton. He would like nothing more than to do that. So why would we hand him the ammunition that he needs to do that? The man he's deplorable. And Bougie said these demons standing with him are just as bad. They worse, because they clearly know that he is a few sandwiches short of a picnic. Okay, we gotta let me go back over here because we can see the crowd a bit now, and the crowd is crowding, y'all. The crowd is crowding. And that makes me mad that I just missed the whole picture of the crowd. And they showed a good shot of them. I'll never find it again. Okay. And when I say it was a crowd, it was definitely a bigger crowd than I imagined. Um, I don't know if they've put a number on it or if they will put a number on it. Let's take a look and see if Blue Sky has any. Let me see. First, let's try these 6 new updates from the Guardian. Here's one photo. Let's see if I can. When I tell you, getting used to doing something differently than you have gotten used to doing it, it is it is a learning curve for my old ass anyway. It didn't used to take me this long to figure some stuff out, but don't nothing beat a fail but a try, and I'm gonna try. That's one thing people can't say. They won't say touch, don't try. Lots and lots of people, a sea of people are out there, and they are, doing what some of us wish we could do. Some of us wish we could go out there and really get in these streets. Um, but there are more ways to be a part of a resistance, to reverse. And let's just be real. This is an authoritarian regime. We have allowed, I won't step out and call it fascism just yet, even though I don't disagree with anybody who does call it fascism. But it's definitely, it's giving dictator, it's definitely giving authoritarian wannabe, and getting rid of that kind of figure once you let them get in. It's not like flipping a switch unless we do things the dirty way. But I'm not going to say we're going to do things the dirty way. We're going to do things, we're going to do some good trouble. As Cory Booker reminded us of the great John Lewis getting in his good trouble. And then Cory Booker got up to his good trouble. And now it's time for us to get up to our good trouble. It takes a lot of work. It's as our former president Barack Obama said, it takes sacrifice. He made sure to use that word too. Some people are going to be uncomfortable. Maybe all of us are going to be uncomfortable for a little while to get back to the comfort on the other side of this. But it's going to take work. Widespread, sustained, risky, messy work. But here's the thing, it can be done. We have seen, we've seen it happen before. We've seen people in South Africa. We've seen people in Serbia. We've seen people in Chile. We've seen the whole civil rights movement. Many of our parents lived through that. We saw all of that. So people can fight back and people can win. But first, You need to build that organization, that organized opposition. Like our opposition political party is the Democrats. We need to form an opposition of the people. Um, the most unlikeliest of people will have to join together and sit side by side and and do their part in overthrowing this thing. The rebels, like I'm feeling mighty Star Wars all of a sudden. The politicians that have a conscience that's working with the rebels, the underground networks, that I'm really feeling real Star Warsy, because the underground network, we saw those in Obi-Wan Kenobi, Andor. Everyday folks, we are all just done with the bullshit. It's not just Star Wars. That's how real change is going to start in real life. We need a coalition, not just people that already agree with us, because it's real easy to get into. That's not a coalition, that's an echo chamber. When you get a bunch of people and we all agree on everything, that's not going to grow anybody. You don't grow from constant reassurance of your bad ideas. You need somebody. There has to be one that say, no, I don't agree with you there. Let's find a middle ground. That is what we need in a successful rebellion. And we need students, people who are representing the educational institutions now, because they're going to carry the future, right? We need workers, because the workers are powering this economy, making it so the students can look towards the future. We need religious leaders, because even no matter how I feel about religion, maybe even how you feel about religion, there are people who are very they make their moves based on what a religious teacher tells them. We need them. We need artists, we need singers, we need actors, because that has always been the key to igniting. That the summer of 69, do they do all what they did? Do they do all of that without good music? I think not. I think not. You need the marginalized communities. You need some rich people. Yep. We need some of the people that helped build this effed up system. We need them to wake up and join the opposition. Again, we ain't got to agree on everything. But one thing that we stand in solidarity about is we don't want an authoritarian. We don't want a dictator. That's enough. That's the good starting point. If we can start there, we're doing something. Bougie said the crowd shot is right after the Hispanic lady is on stage speaking next to the man in the red jacket. Let it play from the end of her speech and you'll see the crowd. Bet. Let's go back and see the crowd. But I gotta get you off of the screen. Because yes, I always have some kind of notes. There, I see it now. Let's make it big. Boy, it's a lot of people out there. That would freak me the F out. I do not like to be surrounded by people like that. But I know that it's a necessary evil. At some point I'm gonna have to take my ass out there. but that looks it looks so good. What I really want is for somebody to go through with a drone and to capture. Um, but you see this crowd size that's in Washington. There are literally today, there are protests happening all over the world. All over the world. Now, again, we're not going to mistakenly say, "Oh, look at all these people fighting for us." No, they're not fighting for us. They're fighting for themselves. But we can all get on one accord, and that one accord is Donald Trump is a problem. He's a problem. And one thing about a person like Donald Trump is he doesn't realize that if you're not constantly in contact with your base, I mean, I'm sure he does realize it. If you're not constantly in contact with your base, if you're not constantly uh what's the word I'm looking for? Reconfirming their fear, reconfirming their hatred towards other people. If you're not doing that regularly, on a regular basis, then you run the risk of losing your control. You're seeing some people say, wait a minute, the dude he blew up the freaking economy and then went to go play golf. So now people have had a moment to think, wait a minute, you're playing golf and I'm worried about my 401k because my 401k is tanking because of this economy. And now these people have a chance to think, I agree with them on a lot of these things, but on these things I don't. And that's all it takes. That's all it takes. Get your foot in the door, put your little toe in the door, and then maybe we can make some inroads on the rest of your conditioning that you're under. And we also need to know it's going to be a time. I hope not. I hope we get rid of this scourge before then, but there could potentially be a time where these little voices, and by little voices, I mean voices like mine. So there are some big, huge creators. Before we get to the creators, you will have to go through mainstream media, right? Legacy media, I guess we'll call it. So if Trump is starting to try to silence a legacy media, how long will it be before he gets to the large creators? And then from there, when the large creators have started to go a little silent, how long will it be before you get to the smaller creators? So they're not just coming for your rights, they're coming for your voice too. They don't want you to say anything against the regime. That's why you needed these underground networks, like in the rebellion in Star Wars. Yes, I'm going back to Star Wars. In the Underground Railroad during slavery. Back in the day, resistance fighters had to use code words. They smuggled letters. They had printing presses that were hidden so that they could find a way to communicate with one another. They didn't have all of this. So today, in today's economy or today's digital uh, uh, infrastructure, we can use encrypted apps like Signal, except for we will not be putting complete war plans on Signal. We just won't. And then inviting people from the other side to come and read everything. We won't do that. If you got a burner account, and I keep burner accounts. So I am one of those people who, my main accounts on social media, and then I have alternate accounts on social media. Not all of the social media networks, but definitely like X. All of my main shit is gone off of X. But I got one that if something is said and I need to confirm that this is not a made up quote or whatever, that I can go to X. I don't use it for nothing but to spy. Um, and then we can play that old school game of telephone, word of mouth. When I see the next person, I tell them something that I've learned or something that we've done, whatever it takes to stay connected. Keep moving, even while you're under pressure. And it's going to be the people on the streets as well. That's why I'm so worried for these people. In a way, we're doing what we've always done, which is we have always applied pushback when we felt oppressed. You can take it all the way back to the Boston Tea Party. You take it back to slave revolts. Any type of oppression deserves an equal and opposite amount of resistance. So these people on the streets, the creators or legacy media, don't sleep on them, because they are still they're trying to do, many of them trying to do the Lord's work. But don't sleep on yourself either, because we sitting even if you're not on the front lines, if you are doing the job of communicating, um, being an organizer of an idea or an event, and you never get the mic, you never get your flowers. Tech people who, yep, I don't have a lot to say, but I can uh I can offer my services in tech because this is what I know. The folks that, hey, if you need water, I can take some water over here because I've got a truck and I can do that for you guys. Revolution is teamwork. It is not just about the people who are the loudest. Those little voices matter too. And let your voice be one of the little voices. Don't just sit back and wait for stuff to happen to you. Fight against it. I don't know how Cory Booker did it. He just kept talking and he had speaking points, and that man was ready, right? And as I was talking about legacy media, as I was talking about social media, as I was talking about just talking, media is power, whether it's social media, written media, in front of a camera. When the state controls the message, they can convince folks to accept anything. And I'm going to give you an example. I don't even need a mic to show you some examples of what things, not a mic. I don't need you to hear the audio. All I need you to do is see some of the things that are what are being said about people. And let's see. See some of the things that are being said, not just about people, but about events as well. Now, I did a video the other day where, what's the lady? I was about to call her Kellyanne Conway. And pull her out for no reason. Carolyn Levitt. Carolyn Levitt is the press secretary for Donald Trump, and she is one of the most skilled propagandists that I have ever seen, because she says things with so much authority that you would think that she was right. And she knows that she's not. She knows that she's just making up facts. And this entire administration is built on gaslighting people. Entire administration. They are not trying to share um, any good knowledge, any knowledge. What they are sharing with their base is propaganda, constantly, over and over and over again. They said that Romisa Ozturk, and I did a video about her as well. They said that Romisa Ozturk is a threat to us here in the United States because she wrote an opinion piece in the newspaper. Romisa is not a threat, and Romisa is still being treated inhumanely by the Trump administration. Romisa has now suffered 3 asthma attacks in DHS custody. She has not yet received her required medications. Her attorneys and spokespeople says it is unconscionable that Romisa Ozturk, a young woman pursuing her education, exercising her First Amendment rights, and contributing to her community, remains detained by DHS. Her ongoing incarceration is not only a blatant violation of her constitutional rights to due process and free speech, but it is now an egregious denial of her fundamental right for medical care. According to her lawyers, Romesa has not received her required asthma medicine and has now suffered 3 separate asthma attacks while in custody. This is cruelty, it is neglect, and it is a damning moral and legal failure. As her representatives in Congress, we demand DHS immediately provide Romesa with access to the health care she needs, and absent compelling evidence justifying her detention and the revocation of her status, we also call for Ozturk's release and the restoration of her visa. Every minute she remains in custody is another minute her health and rights are at risk, and DHS must move with urgency. One side of the argument, I'll call it, the MAGA side, says that Romesa Ozturk is an anti-Semite and a threat. The other side says she wrote an op-ed. Now, who do we believe? I mean, I know who I believe, but it's not enough to believe. Romesa Ozturk deserves due process. Due process means that she gets her day in court. And if she is found to be an anti-Semite and a danger to American society, then you goddamn right, send her out. But because nothing has been proven, we just have to take the very oppressive regime. We have to take their word for it. We have to take what they say is gospel. Now, there has been some movement on her case where the federal government, DOJ, whoever is doing this, they want to hold her hearings in Louisiana. And no, the judge said no, bring her back to Vermont. We'll hold those cases here. But we're not 100% sure this administration is going to stand on what these judges say. But so right now, Romesa Ozturk is still in custody, but her case will be heard, as if people follow the letter of the law. Her case will be heard in Vermont and not in Louisiana, where they just abducted her to for no reason. Let's see what's going on over here. Okay, no new comments. I'll keep going. So that's why I was saying, okay, independent voices, journalists, bloggers, podcasters. Hell, if you make memes, I think about our friend Wingrace, and I call the songs memes at this song because I mean at this point because he makes songs to go with like different parts of a podcast that he does, and not only that, just different songs to relate to Star Trek, and his songs really they're catchy, they're very well done, even though they're mean kind of songs, even with stuff like that. All of those people would be frontline fighters in this battle. So if you got a platform, use it, and however you see fit to use your platform, use it that way. If you got a voice, raise it. Everybody got a voice. Say something. Even small things matter. If you fact check somebody, share some reliable information so somebody else who likes to run their mouth like me, send me stuff. Send stuff my way. Say, hey, have you seen this? Maybe I've seen it. Maybe I haven't. But one thing's for damn sure, I'm gonna have an opinion about it, right? So um, every time we see somebody being mistreated, marginalized, being lied to, lied on, we need to be the voices of dissent in some way, shape, or form. Again, you don't have to be face forward in the fight, but help. Every time we punch a hole in their propaganda, the truth bubble gets a little more oxygen. So as Barack Obama said, turning this shit around, it's not about one hero swooping in to save the day. It's about everybody from every walk of life getting in the fight. One of the things that we need to be diligent about when we look at the number of people who voted in this past presidential election, um, Trump squeaked by. He squeaked by uh, by Kamala Harris. More people voted Kamala Harris or third party than voted for Trump. So people can vote how they want, right? We don't want the MAGA voters. That's one thing we don't, and I don't care how mean I sound in saying it. People can vote how they want, third party, one of the two parties in the two-party system. You can do whatever you want. What we need is that 36% of people who did not vote at all, if we can get 15% of them to register to vote, if we could get 15% of them to, okay, you didn't vote last time, and guess what? You feeling it just like all the rest of us. If we can get them to get on board to not just voting, we need to make the vote count. And as much as I like third party candidates from time to time, right now we need a popular candidate. We don't need a third party candidate. So we need to not coerce, but we do need to convince some people to, number one, register to vote, which we can do. We can do voter drives, try to drive the vote, get people to sign up and register to vote who have never voted before, because your vote could be the difference between 2 years of this and 4 years of this or more, right? Let me see. Um, you're welcome, Wing Grace. Yeah, Bougie, he barely made it in. And we can exploit that. There are cracks in the foundation of the MAGA movement right now because people who thought they would never, ever get hurt, they got hurt. And some people who never, ever thought that I would have to even worry about what the president of the United States is doing, I never vote. Those people have gotten hurt. And now it won't take as much. You see what happened in Florida? No, the Democrat reps who were running in those special elections, they didn't win, but they closed the gap. You saw what happened in Wisconsin, though. Elon Musk spent $22 million trying to have his preferred candidate for a judge, for a Supreme Court judge in Wisconsin. He went to Wisconsin and thought that his money was going to buy a Supreme Court justice for the state of Wisconsin. And all it brought was MAGA tears because the lady, and I have forgotten her name, gosh, the lady we wanted to won. And we didn't want her to win because we think now we're going to have somebody in there who's going to vote for nothing but us. No, I want somebody to listen to each situation and apply the law as it is written. Do not do favors for a politician or a businessman because of who they are. Make them live by the same set of rules that we have to live by. But anyway, we need to stay loud. If you're whatever your platform is, however you make people understand what's going on, keep doing that. Stay connected. So how do people how do they keep going? And I'm looking at you, Cory Booker. How do you keep going? Some of us need a little bit more motivation than others. We were talking about gaslight, and I'm all over the place. If you don't like to be gaslit, that might be motivation. Look at the dates and the time on this whatever we're calling it. What did they call it on Truth Social? A truth? We know if you got to call it the truth and it's Donald Trump, it's probably a lie. Great job numbers, far better than expected. It's already working. So look, the great job numbers and far better than expected, that part is the truth. Because these job numbers and what we expected were from March. And remember, in March, there was a lot of fluctuation going on with we're going to fire all these workers, but then you have to bring them back. So, yes, I expected the job numbers for March or the late April, early March to be worse. But because Donald Trump and his team of merry men, I was about to call them something else, Donald Trump and his little crew, they have been rebuked by judges so much that many of the people who we thought were fired had to be rehired. So that is why the job numbers are far better than I expected. This dude then goes on to say it's already working. Hank Tough, because he can't spell hang. Hank Tough, we can't lose. April 4th, 8:57 a.m. as the freaking stock market was plummeting to hell. Then he goes on to say, big business is not worried about the tariffs. Well, what about little business? What about people who rely on buying goods from the big business that ain't worried because they've got all the money that they need? But it's the people who are keeping the big businesses big. What about us? He says big business is not worried about the tariffs because they know they are here to stay. We know that Donald Trump will likely pull these tariffs after somebody really explains what it's going to do to his presidential legacy. Once his ego gets involved, he might pull the tariffs because he doesn't want the history books to say the truth about him. And the truth is, he is literally the worst president in U.S. history. And we've had some horrible presidents. He goes down as the literal worst. If not for any other reason than for him trying to make a dictatorship out of the United States of America. So yes, he's going to be the worst. But he says the tariffs are here to stay, but here to stay means nothing. He says, but they are focused on the big, beautiful deal, which will supercharge our economy. Very important going on right now. So if you keep your steady dose of of brainwashing going with the MAGA movement, they'll believe this. I literally have a friend who said, well, maybe this stuff will help. And I'm like, when? Because I'm 50 something. When will it help? When will him putting all of these tariffs on all of these countries, putting all these people out of work, dehumanizing the immigrant, dehumanizing LGBTQ people, raiding our institutions and agencies, extorting our judicial system. When is all that going to help? In my lifetime? Hell no. Hell no. Susan Crawford, that's her name. Thank you, Bougie. Those people are in these crowds today. Yep. Little pockets are worried about those tariffs, I assure you. Yes, they are. And they should be. If you ain't worried about these tariffs, then you are not paying attention. All of it is going to hurt you. All of it is in some way, shape, or form. It's going to get you and bite you right in your ass. So yeah. We talked about how to start a resistance. We start seeing the gaslighting coming from the Trump regime. We ask yourselves, how do we keep this up? At least I ask myself. So I figure if I'm asking myself, then somebody else got to be asking too. So all right. Cameras turn off. The headlines change. We're no longer, for a little while it was Social Security and Medicare. They've moved on. It's a new talking point. The new talking point is now these tariffs. We had Signalgate. The news cycle is going so fast that it's easy to get tired. It's easy to be worn out from a constant 24-hour news cycle. And for 24 hours, the news is like primarily bad. And I'm a psycho. So I do that to myself. I just sit and I consume it and I consume it and I consume it. Sometimes, it's recognizing when your friend who has all the information, when they need to take a break. Yeah, sometimes that bitch needs a break. She ain't gonna take it if she's anything like me, or he's not gonna take it anything like me. But we can't lose our fire. And that means you gotta figure out, you gotta learn some of this stuff on your own. And you have to uh, be built strong, because authoritarian regimes, they are strong. There's levels to that ish. They are built to wait us out. They want us to burn hot and fizzle fast. But we can't let the movement become just a moment. If it's just a moment, that was Cory Booker talking for 25 hours on the Senate floor, leaving us in awe with the fact that this man not only talked for 25 hours, but he didn't stand there and read Dr. Seuss or the phone book. He literally, for 25 hours, talked to the people of the United States and, in some cases, the world. 100 million plus. I think it was at least 100 million. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, y'all. 100 million plus. Listen to that man talk for 25 hours. We checked in. We was high-fiving each other. People are proud. I had my grandchildren who are not going to remember this. They're not going to remember it at all. I turned Cory Booker on instead of Gracie's Corner because I want them to know that you guys, when you were too young to appreciate it, saw a piece of history. It was on in the background, and hopefully they were soaking in the messages of shit that they don't understand. But know that Granny had you at least listening to this. We ain't do the Gracie's thing and dancing and all that. No, because that was a moment in history. And it was and it was something to talk about. I'm still talking about it. But we can't let that be the whole movement. These protests today, woo! Now that's what I'm talking about. People showing up all over the world. People showing up on the doorstep in Washington, D.C. But that's a moment. And we need that sustained energy to last us throughout this ordeal that we're in. Not everybody can be out in the streets every day. Some people are caretakers. Some people are disabled. Some people are agoraphobic, like your girl. And some people are just fucking tired. And that's okay. We don't all have to move the same way, but do something regularly. Micro activism. Write a letter. Call a rep. Share an article. Hey, uplift a protester's voice. Uplift the voice of somebody who has been illegally detained. Fund a bail fund if you can do that. Host a Zoom meeting and talk about ways that we can improve our activism. Make it a part of your weekly, daily, not daily. Daily is going to drive you nuts. Make it a part of your weekly routine. Like the same way you got to water a plant. If you got a green thumb, if you got to water a plant regularly, you have to make little stuff like this, especially if you can't do big stuff. You got to make little stuff like this part of your weekly routine. Resistance is not something that you plant a seed in somebody's mind and you keep it moving. It does need nurturing. Resistance is something that we grow. And rituals help. And I ain't talking about satanic, oh, we need the blood of 10 babies, and we don't need all of that. We need a movement wide ritual. So something that you can look forward to. It's something that you can add to the table. Now, some people can do monthly town halls. And every month we can sit down with a group of like-minded people and talk about progress. But if you can't do that, you can do I was going to say Twitter. Shame on me. Shame on me. You can do it on social media, Blue Sky, Threads. Uh, those could be virtual town halls. That actually is a good idea. uh, you can donate. Like if people, these resistance movements do need things. Water, crackers, something to keep people sustained if they're going to be uh protesting for a long period of time. I really wish, number one, I wish I had money. And number two, I wish that I had money to send to Cory Booker, because you reward awesome behavior. Cory was researched and calculated in his speech. And you're proud of him too, Bougie. Yes. So we need to find ways to keep the momentum going. Thank you. We sure do. And it's not, when you're younger, I guess it is a lot easier to just keep that little puppy-like energy. But we're older and we need to do a little things. And I don't know about y'all, but I know I need to do things and I need to make them count. We can again reach out to artists. We can have anniversaries of protests. So for instance, April 4th, we know what the symbolism of that date in African American history. We could have had anniversary protest, never again protest, because that man lost his life. Talking about Martin Luther King, by the way, he lost his life keeping, or to elevate his people to the standard of living that they rightfully deserved. And now the quote unquote equality is here. We can't let this shit go back. So we need people to think of ideas that's going to bring people back. Because it's one thing to have somebody in the chat and rah 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 shish boom blah, and then we never hear from them again. What can we do to bring people back? How do we keep up the energy? How do we give people something to look forward to? How do we give people something to organize around? Like here we go again, but like Star Trek Day. We know every year Star Trek Day. We know what First Contact Day. We know these dates in our mind. We know May the 4th be with you. We know these things in our mind. Tradition equals repetition. Repetition equals strength. So it ain't just like going to the gym and lifting the weight, show how super strong you are once. You got to keep repeating that. You got to keep doing it over and over. And then, and only then, will you build strength. All you've shown us by doing it once is that you can do it once. But can you do it again? It's like I crack up thinking about the young ladies who are like, talking about men, and yeah, this is like so random. But they was like, yeah, don't buy me anything super expensive that you can't buy twice. And that is where we need to be. We can't do this once and can't do it again. Because if you can't do it again, what did we do? To what end? We didn't make any progress. We did something once. Did you see Marge said, did we win? We're winning. We're still winning. uh and although I like to keep people informed, I'm one of those people. I like to talk. And I like even though I'm not an educator, I am in a way, because I like to keep people on top of what's going on. But I don't want to be the person that's keeping you on top of what's going on. I want you to be mobilized to look this stuff up yourself or to find a way to combat it. Because it's one thing to talk about the problems and talk about the problems constantly. Today, the protests are about, let's see some results. This live stream is about, yes, we do see some of the problems, but we also are offering results, or we're offering, I won't even say results, options on how we can get results. There we go. We're offering options on how we can get results. If we're just throwing facts at people, we're not changing their heart. So if I tell you, this is what happened and this is what happened and all of these things have happened, and your heart remains the same. So the next time I see you and I'm spitting facts at you again and your heart stays the same, then I'm not teaching you anything. We got to teach with intention. We have to show people how dots connect historically. I love doing that, by the way. I don't know if you guys notice. I love reaching. And I mean, I really sometimes I gotta reach. But making connections where some people didn't see it. And then when somebody gives me a connection that I didn't see, I can't wait to tell y'all. Um, even explaining a policy. I was talking to my sister not too long, maybe a month or so ago, about my dad, and how I didn't understand how our system of government really worked. Now, of course, you know the pieces, and if your education was like subpar, you might have got the pieces, and you might have not got much else. So then it takes for you to want to know what these pieces do. And my dad really broke it down to me, like sitting face to face. We're talking, and he tells me, "Oh no, Tasha, that's not how this works. See this, and this, and this." He explained it to me in a way, of course, you're used to hearing your own parent talk, but he explained it to me in a way that I understood. And it has lit a fire in me since. That's all it takes, is to explain how policies impact real life and teaching with intention. Because if that person didn't learn anything, then you haven't taught anything. So use sometimes local examples to people. People may not get the scope of how what happens in this country is going to create ripples globally. Nope. Sometimes we got to start with what's going on in your front yard. We got to uh, put a human face to the problems, not just say there's these problems, because I can do that. Uh, I'm really bad at that. But we can't just put a face to the problems. Can't just put statistics to the problem. We kind of got to make it like Cory Booker did. We kind of make it human. We got to use stories, not these statistics. That is how Cory Booker intrigued a, a wide audience of people for 25 hours. And if folks understand how dictators, how authoritarianism, how that touches them personally, maybe they'll fight it. I really be hoping that people will get moved because of what's happening to somebody else. But everybody ain't built like that. Let that shit happen to them. Let something happen to them, and then we can get them on board. And when we get them on board, it is not our it's not conducive to our cause to get them on board and chastise them about what took them so long, whether they are Republicans who didn't want to cross over, whether they are MAGA who had a complete change of heart, whether they are people who didn't see the importance, especially in this election, which is the most, for me, the most important election of my lifetime. They didn't see the importance of it then, but they seeing it now. Don't chastise them people. Don't do the whole FAFO. I hate that. I hate that. Yes, amongst friends, I might say, you know what? Yeah, they fucked around. Yeah, they found out. But to those people, you don't want to be condescending, because the same way you got them, you can lose them. And then when you lose them, they're going to go and tell 10, 15, 20, 30 other people how you treated them. And those are 30 people that we cannot count on to be part of the resistance. Ooh, y'all a quiet bunch, but I'm glad to have you with me today. Feel free to add in, say what you need to say in the chat. Nobody bites here. Let me see. Also remember that there is still that survey, or I'm sorry, petition going on about the World Cup and the 2020 World Cup and the 2028 Olympics. How we don't really need those things to be here. So if you have not yet signed my petition, I am inviting you again to do so. The link is in the description, show notes, how it's in the description box. So you will find that link, sign it and share it, or just share it, or do your due diligence to make sure a voice that did not know that there's going to be an attempt at moving the location. And if we can't move the location, I think we should boycott. It would be the World Cup. We should boycott the World Cup. And if we can't get it moved out of the United States is doing a lot right now to make sure we don't have shit here. But for some reason, FIFA says, "Nah, we still gonna let the fascists and the authoritarians and the xenophobes and the crooks, we're going to allow them to still hold the World Cup." We should be prepared next year to show up in numbers to disrupt the World Cup, so that the story is not about the World Cup, but it's about the protests that are happening outside of the locations. That is something that we got a year to get organized. I think we could smash that if we have to. Hopefully, we don't have to. If we have to, then we should be prepared by 2026 to, to apply some really strong pressure to FIFA for having, not for having the nerve, but for having it here, given the danger that this government presents to immigrants, presents to anyone that is not from the United States, the athletes, the spectators, the journalists, anybody who is not from here or that doesn't look white and right. If those people come here, we cannot guarantee that they will be treated humanely. And therefore, if we can't guarantee the humane treatment of athletes when they come over here, then maybe we shouldn't have them over here. So um that petition is in the show notes, and I hope sign it. And I talked about people who still have a very rudimentary understanding of tariffs. And I feel like if I haven't tried to tell you 2 or 3 or 10 times already what a tariff is, then I'm not going to be really, really mean about it. But Peter Shankman says, okay, well, Tony Girardi, I guess this is the name, said tariffs will finally bring the prices down, hopefully like the iPhone, which is something that is notoriously going to be going up. Samsung phone, $1,000 to $1,200 is ridiculous. You are going to be looking at likely 1,500 to 1,700. That's what you're going to be looking for those phones at the absolute least. I'm pretty sure more, could be more. But anyway, Peter Shankman says, apologies for the very personal question, but were you homeschooled by a pigeon? And look, it's funny and I'm laughing, but this is not how we get people on our side. Okay. And unless I have already told this person 12 times how this shit works and they still try to tell me something else, I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna be mean to the people. The people need all the help they can get because everybody did not get the same level of education about these things. I can't. Hey, I can't say. I can't see your name. You signed a petition, Bougie. I appreciate it. So if you're here and you haven't yet signed it, sign it for me. I appreciate it. Okay. But yeah, I thought that was funny, but I was like, it's also a little mean. And then speaking of being mean, I like saw this and I only thought of one person. And look, I know that's really mean, but yeah, do a service to the whole world. You know who you are. Improve the world by leaving it. You ain't got to go home, but you got to get the HE double hockey sticks out of here. And then, of course, there are people who, and this is like me responding to somebody, but somebody said we need Project Woke 2029 to save America. And look, this person might be joking, but they are 100% correct. If there is nobody working on a an agenda that serves the American people, then they doing it wrong. We got too many legal minds, too many intellects, too many philosophy majors, sociology majors. We got too many opinionated uh, um, citizens, because everything doesn't have to be through the lens of the educated. You need a representative from every walk of life to say, when we get to the other side of this, what will we have done to benefit ourselves, the citizens? Yes, we need to craft legislation to make sure that at the first sight of a dictator, we can request a special vote, that the people should be able to request at the absolute least a special vote to get that mother, what, out of there. And as I said about this, or you can see what I was saying about, we need to craft a New Deal type agenda to make sure that we're ready with our demands on the other side of this. So, what do we want back? What do we want moving forward? I think it would be imperative that if we are to get Donald Trump out of office, we need guarantees that education will never be touched again, or the attempt won't be made. We need guarantees of a universal health care. We need guarantees of a raise to the federal minimum wage. These are guarantees that we should demand, because we are the people. All those people up there work for us. We are the people. There should be demands that need to be met if we are going to elect these representatives, these senators, these presidents, and coming on down to the local shit too, school board members and congressmen. We need to make sure that they understand the assignment. And the assignment is, no, we're not talking about in 15 to 20 years, or we're going to do this, and this in stages. We know that the power is ours. We need that minimum wage raised. I don't know why I want to say risen, raised. Which one is it, y'all? Help me with my English. But whichever one it is, we need the federal minimum wage to be that, because $7.75 is not going to cut it. And I don't even know if that's it. It could be lower than that. Somebody knows in the chat. $7 is not going to cut it. You should not be able to pay anybody $7 and some change legally per hour and expect them to give you 100%. They can't, because 100%, them working at their full momentum can barely buy a tank of gas. So, minimum wage, leave our education system alone, and don't you ever come in here, don't you ever bring your bald head, stanky, skanky ass up in here again and try to extort the judicial system, and try to extort our institutes of higher learning. You start doing shit like that, we should be able to lock you up. Supreme Court, shame on you for giving this man carte blanche. You could, the writing clearly had to be on the wall of what he had planned when you told this man that he's immune. A sitting president is immune. That is no way to run a country. No way whatsoever. So yeah, we're clocking y'all to Supreme Court judges. We need some term limits on y'all asses. tell me if there's in oh, you kept your name anonymous on there, bougie. So yeah, tell me if there is some part of a new deal that you would like to see come into the equation once we get on the other side of this. Because again, every protest that does not get crushed from the beginning, every protest that lasts longer than a minute or two and hasn't been stopped by the state or whatever, the military, these are wins. Every vote that blocks a power grab is a win. Every corrupt appointee exposed is a win. And being prepared for the next time we might face a monster like this, being prepared is a win. These little victories matter because I don't know. It's like, have you ever been in a race? Yeah. Have you ever been in a race and you could never ever beat your big brother, your big sister? I'm a hooper, a former hooper. I could never beat my brother playing 21. And then one day you beat him. That's a little victory. You only did it once. But they let you know it's possible. It fuels you to fight a little harder. Put something else in your arsenal uh for the next time. Okay, so I beat you this time going doing this. So what if I added this? How much more would I be able to beat you by? It got to the point with my son. I used to hoop with my son all the time until he started being able to beat me regularly. Then it's like, I have taught my little Padawan everything I know. The student has become better than the teacher. But yeah, but uh those little fights, we celebrated those wins for him the first few times. I started getting mad after a little while, but the first few times we celebrated those wins and we told other people, and that makes a difference in the confidence level that somebody approaches these situations in. And it's the same thing here. Each time we set out to do these little things, even with me live streaming, usually I have the same two or three people. I don't know who is here today, but I've got 6, 7 people, and I'm happy about that. And if you know anybody else who'd be interested in just having our virtual protest moment, then invite them in. I'm gonna continue going for a little bit here. I'm not about to Cory Booker y'all though. Don't think I got that type of stamina. Um, so yeah, this makes me feel like just having just a few people, and I don't know who all is here, but it makes me feel like I'm making a bit of a difference. And it doesn't matter how big or small your audience is. There is I guess, a misconception that, hey, your audience, you should have 10, 12, 50,000 subscribers. I wish I did. I'm not gonna lie. But the people that are here and they are here the most are the people that matter the most. So to me, it's like, gosh, when I sit down in this chair, I'm talking directly to them. And if you join in as, somebody who hasn't been here before, now you're part of them. I want this thing to get as big as it needs to. There's bigger channels and they got more to say and they've got further reach. But when you want that intimate conversation and to hear somebody blather on and who will listen to you, then I'm making a difference. And you are too. You know, I know that if you've been here before and you notice, hey, She's talking an awful lot of politics now. Um, it's because again, you have to meet the moment sometimes, and this moment, it's gotten a little bit bigger than the movies and TV shows that I regularly follow. But pop culture is still resistance. It's still resistance. And this is like uh it's close to home for me because pop culture isn't just entertainment. Pop culture is like uh Battle World. And if you're a Marvel fan, you know what I'm talking about. It is Battle World. And dictators also know that, hey, if I want to capture more people, I have to control what they consume. That is why, number one, Amazon Prime. Yeah, I'm looking at your ass, yo, stinking rotten. But Amazon Prime has put The Apprentice on. You can watch The Apprentice whenever you want to. Get that steady stream of brainwashing of idol worship in. Number two, Donald Trump has taken over the Kennedy Center, right? Because that is entertainment, but it is also it's the arts, and it's just they want to control the narrative, the entire narrative. We're gonna ban some books. It's gonna get to the point where, hey, we're gonna censor some movies. We're gonna sanitize history because stories shape the ideas that we have about what is possible. And one thing that they don't want is for us to think that it's even possible to overthrow this regime. They don't want to give you any ideas of how to go about rebelling. So think about the Hunger Games, V for Vendetta, The Handmaid's Tale. I always bring that up. Andor, I'm bringing that up. The Matrix. These are not Black Panther. These are not just cool stories. They're blueprints. Like I've always said about the Octavia Butler stuff. These are blueprints. These are warnings. These are rallying cries. They each one shows us what resistance looks like, what oppression feels like. And then it also shows that, okay, now everybody starts working together. We got collective action. What that achieves when you do it. All of these movies offer some kind of hope. And a lot of authoritarian regimes don't want that. But when you need it, this shit is here for you too. It ain't just until they try to take it from us. This is here for you too. If you need your battery recharged, if y'all just want to talk about some of these movies and how they, in those moments, we were never thinking, damn, like in Black Panther, we were never thinking, okay, T'Challa dies, right? And then Killmonger decides, well, now I'm the king of Wakanda, and then he takes it down this whole authoritarian direction, you know. Even though T'Challa didn't die in that movie, y'all know what I'm saying. But again, these are where Black Panther or where these movies meet the moment. Yeah. Uh, Mars says my little Padawans. Yeah, I have my little Padawans in here. My grandchildren are my young Jedi's. So yeah, and then You know, my thing is sci-fi. So back in the before times, Star Trek, Star Wars, and y'all already know Star Trek is basically a utopia that was born out of global catastrophe. Like, uh, they had to do some really effed up stuff before we got to Star Trek. And every time now, especially since we will be heading into a new season of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, um, every time we watch the Federation overcome a corrupt admiral or a power hungry regime, Section 31 control, uh, every time that happens, we're rehearsing resistance. We're imagining it a little bit better. Some things that you never thought of. I mean, like the one the drumhead. Okay, I'm going to nerd out for just a little second. I'm not going to live here, but the drumhead. You know, when we met that woman at the beginning of the episode, somebody in the audience might know her name. I can't remember it. But when we met her at the beginning of the episode, we had no idea that she was going to turn the way she did. Unfortunately, that's not the case with Donald Trump. See, he showed us who the hell he was the first time. People didn't believe it. But I think about, I don't know why I brought up the drumhead. I enjoy making the connections from these shows and movies that I love and that you might love too, and you can make the connection to the moment. And that might be how I said we teach with intention. That might be the lesson, how you get the lesson across to somebody. You have to know your audience in some ways, and in knowing your audience, you start to know what metaphors and similes and allegories, what works for them. And for a lot of people, Star Trek could work for them if they're not still twisting in their mind and making Trump represent the Federation, or if nothing else, Trump represents a fucking Ferengi, excuse me, and that's a freaking insult to Ferengi. But um, people twist it around in their mind where the MAGA people represent the Federation, or the MAGA people represent the rebellion. And I'm like, y'all got to go back and watch that shit again. But you know how to reach people in your circle, and in your circle, you might have to go to that toolbox of pop culture. This is how some people will understand. People will get fired up when you play a song. Um, when I was young, I used to go to the little nightclubs. Now, I would call it more of a little juke joint, a little nightclub, just something small. It wasn't no big club, but I used to go to these little place. And towards the end of the night, for some reason, they would start, "Hey there, Justin." Um, Towards the end of the night, for some reason, they would start playing what we call fight music. Now, if you have, and some of y'all will understand what will know exactly what kind of music I'm talking about, and I'm wishing that I could think of one of the songs off the top of my head, but y'all know what fight music sounds like when you're going out and stuff. So they would start playing fight music, and it's like, at the end of the night, when it's almost time for the club to close, shouldn't you be playing like slow jams? Shouldn't y'all be wanting people to, get into a mood to be peaceful as they're walking out the freaking door? Why the hell Would you play fight music? These people don't know their audience. Um, uh, and people get manipulated by the cult of personality. In that case, it would be the DJ who thinks they knows what's right. Then you play the fight music and everybody goes out in the street, and what the hell happens? People fight. Cults of personality. They use music, TV. They use all of these things to manipulate, to get their message out here. And they use fear to control people. Even to the point where I'm saying to DJ, and I'm like, why the fuck would you do that, DJ? That is a form of control. All of that. Anyway, so and then we were talking about like the music, but memes. I'm not good at memes. I'm not good at social media, period. Like, I suck at social media. In this age, though, a simple meme can do as much damage can do as much damage to somebody's reputation, somebody's image, as a whole protest sign. You can sit behind your computer and just create the best fucking memes, a viral TikTok, a viral Blue Sky post, a viral YouTube short can spread the truth faster than a press release. So if that is your thing, if art is your thing, yes, art disrupts the humor can keep you humor disarms, creativity connects. So if that's what you do and you make memes, please do not downplay that shit that you doing. It is one of the biggest and best forms of protest, because all it takes is for one person to chuckle and share it, and it's on its way. So in essence, you like shows, movies that punch up. And I say punch up. Many of y'all know what I'm talking about. It's real easy to take a demographic that's already beaten down, and let's see how far we can get them to go. No, we need these stories that punch up and that make the small people, the little people, makes them believe that they stand a chance against Goliath, but not alone, together. You want the shows or movies or TV, music that challenges the system and that uplifts people. And I'm crashing into my microphone. Yeah, that uplifts people. Because watching things is the Debbie Downer. Regular reality is Debbie Downer, so you don't have to watch nothing on TV to get that. uh Uplift, offer hope, challenge the system. That's what we need right now. Oh, so let me know. uh Let me know if it's a movie. I've gave y'all a few of mine. Let me know if it's a movie or a TV show or music, anything. Let me know on just anything. Artists that get you in the mood for some good trouble. Let me know in the comments. And I am going to check and see what went on at this rally. So again, hundreds of protesters, including Americans living abroad, have taken to the streets across major European cities in a show of defiance against Donald Trump's administration. Demonstrators rallied in Frankfurt as part of the hands off protests organized by Democrats abroad, Reuters reports. In Berlin, demonstrators stood in front of a Tesla showroom and the U.S. Embassy in protest against Trump and Tesla CEO Elon Musk. Some held signs calling for an end to the chaos in the United States. In Paris, demonstrators, largely American, gathered around Place de la République. I'm not a French speaker. To protest, but they was there to protest the U.S. president, with many waving banners that read "Resist tyrant, rule of law, feminist for freedom, not fascism, and save democracy." Crowds in London also gathered in Trafalgar Square earlier on Saturday with banners that read "No to MAGA hate and dump Trump." Protesters also gathered in Lisbon on Saturday, with some holding signs that read "The Third Reich." Rage Against the Machine is Justin's. That is what Justin uses to get amped. In addition to large U.S. cities, anti-Donald Trump protests are also taking place through the U.S. Smaller towns, including in red counties. You heard me. So there are people who were once upon a probably MAGA enthusiasts, and they no longer are as mesmerized by the despot that is Donald Trump. We got some more pictures from a lot of these demonstrations. New York, it's lots of people. Not your body, not your effing business. Yep, somebody put "make lying wrong again" for show. And we really need to do something to, you can't just sit and just continuously lie and make up propaganda for the American people. That shouldn't even be, especially when you know you're lying. It's one thing if you don't know you're lying, you just told a story, oops. You know you lying to these people. Hands off our Smithsonian, yes. People are out there and representing, and Russian asset, American idiot. That's funny. It's not red versus blue, it's right versus wrong. So you're seeing some of the talking points used by Mr. Cory Booker make it to some of the protest signs, and I like that. Don't go him over here. Oh, Trump makes poor decisions for sure. Beautiful. This is what democracy looks like. Whose streets? Our streets. The people united will never be defeated. All you fascists bound to lose. Ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people don't stop. Whoop, whoop. No justice, no peace. Yes. And then this is people setting out sandals representing Palestinian children. Okay, killed by Israeli forces in Gaza. So these are displayed as anti-war protesters march toward the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement headquarters in Washington, D.C. America has no kings. America needs no kings. I heard that. The roving anti-Trump Save Democracy tour bandwagon. So they got little vendors out there. It's very carnival type atmosphere. Um, I like the fact that people are out there, and I'm going to go over to Blue Sky. I'm going to go over to Blue Sky and see if anybody has any other stuff that has been going on here. Let me see. Latest. People are looking for protesters to go over to where Trump is playing golf. Well, I guess what I forgot the name of his. Not Mar-a-Lago, right? He got someplace else that he plays golf at too. I wouldn't do that. I'm not trying to poke the bear too much. You know that his ego means everything, and that he will not take lightly to being embarrassed. I don't give a fuck now. I just want people to right now be safe and not, you know, yeah, people need to be safe and don't do too many things that are going to poke the bear, so to speak. And I don't see. Mm, I'm trying to see if there's anything like big. Let's see if y'all got anything that you're saying out here. Nice pictures of stuff, Marge. Yeah, it is very the people that are out there they're out there in numbers and they look very engaged. I really wish I could get some aerial type shots, and maybe I would have to just go to a different YouTube channel. Sorry, and I'm nothing like Cory Booker. So the